Here we are back at it again with Tactics Overland. Today I'm going to show some of the modifications I've done to my air compressor. A lot of people ask about it, if I bought it like this or if I did some modifications to it, which I did modifications to it. So I might as well do a quick video and show some of the modifications I've done to it to make it a little bit more efficient. So yeah, let's get right into it. I believe this dual air compressor, I got it a couple of years ago. I believe it's from Desert Armor. I'm not sure if they make it anymore, but it's the exact same one you get from Napa, Moab, Kings. I believe that's like an Australian brand. And Thor's Lightning. It's all the exact same compressors. But yeah, I did some modifications to it. So yeah, let's go right into it, show you what I've done, and I'll try to post some pictures of the parts that I've done to it, added to it, and the before of what it used to look like, and of course what it looks like now. So we'll start from the top. I left the handle on here. This is the handle that it came with, just because it has some weight, something to pick it up and carry it with. Let's move this out of the way. Up top, these caps up here, they were fully enclosed, and the air, this is where the air comes in for the compressor through these little openings, little tiny gaps right here around the caps. But I didn't think it was enough airflow. It went pretty tight. I can take one of them off and show you what I done to it. So what I did to it, I drilled a hole into it, and added some steel wool mesh that they use for like screens for like bug nets and stuff like that. I believe that's like a 2.5, maybe 3-inch hole that I use a hole saw with. Drilled it in the top of these, put the mesh in there, and then up here I added some foam. It did come with a foam insert for the filter, but I use this filter. I believe it's for like lawnmowers and stuff like that. So I got pieces of that, cut out pieces that fit, threw that in there, and of course put the mesh screen. I'm not really sure if this would do anything, which it probably won't, but kind of keep stuff off of there. And I'll try to put links to all this stuff in the description below. So that's that up top. That's what I done to that. And then we'll get to this real quick. The cable that came with this, I believe it might have been like 7 gauge, I think it said on the wire. Oh no, actually it was 10 gauge, because it was pretty thin. So I added some 6 gauge copper wire to this. It's welding wire. I don't know if you can kind of see that. It's a lot thicker than 10 gauge, of course. Then it did come with some kind of Anderson style plug connector, but I mean, it was like I would say a knockoff. So I went out and purchased a bigger Anderson connector And this is actual Anderson Power Products. This is 175 amps Anderson connector. And I got it in red. They come in different colors, multiple colors. I believe the one that came with this was like a gray color. So yeah, added that on there with the 6-gauge wire. And then I reused the sleeve that was on the previous wires. So the 6-gauge wire actually fit in there. And then just heat shrinked both ends to keep this sleeve on here. So yeah, it's durable. It's not going nowhere. And this part just plugs in where I have the other connection. It's plugged right under the passenger side front fender, right behind the bumper. So I don't even gotta open the hood. I just leave the Jeep running, plug it right in, and start airing up. The connections that came with before were battery terminal connections, the alligator clips, which I'm not really a big fan of, because then you have to open the hood. It just takes up more time. So yeah, I just have the Anderson connector under there. It's within like a waterproof rubber boot with the lid to it, so it's waterproof if any water gets around the front or the bottom of the Jeep. Yeah, just open that up, plug this in, and you're good to go there. So let's start with the front here. It did have a little plastic cheap toggle switch, which I replaced with this better industrial type switch, and just rewired it to the wires that were on here, and then I just wrapped it in some, I think it's called Tessa tape. It's what they use like under the engine bay where you see all the wiring, and it has like that fabric type, heat resistant, cut proof type tape. I just wrapped it in that. Then right here, let me see the way I did this. I just tapped that out a little bit bigger to get a little bit better airflow. Let's see. So yeah, this right here, I had to get an extension right here to go into right here, which this part right here is stainless steel, 3/16 stainless steel, pipe fitting. It's the male end, the NPT fitting, and then added this part right here, where this part is the let me get to that. Still stainless steel. It's a square 90-degree elbow that kind of comes around and comes out of there. And then for this part right here, for the quick disconnect coupler to connect the hose to. This is made by Milton. It's the 5-in-1 universal, and it has a safety exhaust. So when you connect your hose and like say like a air coupler to air up your tires, or say if you have this connected to a bigger air compressor and power tools, when you take out the power tool, you get that big air release, and it kind of wants to shoot off the the tool. This has a safety exhaust, so once everything's built up pressure, the hose is built up pressure, before you disconnect everything, you just pull this little sleeve back, which I can't do without it connected. You just pull the little sleeve back and it releases the pressure within the hose, within the compressor, right out of here. Then you can just disconnect everything. And this actually fits up to, I believe it's like 5 different size hose fittings. So pretty much doesn't matter which hose you use, this coupler will work with that hose. Okay, now we get to right in here. This part right here. What is that? That is, it's a 300 amp 12 volt solenoid. It's mainly used for like marine use, golf carts. It's heavy duty. I decided to replace the circuit board with that. There's the previous circuit board that was in there. It just looks like it has a lot of failure points on it, especially with the soldering that's done to this. And then the wiring, I believe when I opened this up, one of the wires wasn't even connected, soldered all the way, so eventually it would have failed. So this is what used to be in it, and I replaced it with the solenoid. I probably could have got by with the 200 amp solenoid, but just like the wire gauge went a little over. Probably don't really need 6 gauge, but is what it is. So yeah, I went with the 300 amp solenoid. So yeah, got rid of this, replaced it with the solenoid. Also, say if you're out on a trail and the circuit board does fail, well then you're screwed. How are you gonna air up your tires? So with the solenoid, it's automotive grade, so you could go to like any AutoZone, any auto parts store, and pick up another one, throw it in there, and you're back to work, airing up your tires. And then also this thing didn't come with a pressure switch, so I also installed a pressure switch. It's a air pressure switch. It's a 70 to 100 psi pressure switch, which is right there. Let's see if I can flip this thing around. Like I said, it has some weight to it. So yeah, there's the pressure switch. I had to drill out a hole and thread that hole. I had to tap that to add that in there. So that's a pressure switch right there. So we got the pressure switch installed. We got the coupler installed, so it gets better airflow. Letting in a little bit more air through the top instead of these little tiny gaps around these caps. Upgrading the wiring to 6 gauge. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I've done so far. Let me flip it around to the other side. Should do it this way. And yeah, I still have the logo. Took it off and just put it back on Desert Armor. So yeah, I just have everything connected to the solenoid. Rewired everything up to the motor inside of here. Have the 6 gauge wiring going through to the side. Have everything attached right here. Have the negative connected to the solenoid. Have the positive that runs straight back to the wiring, to the positive to the motor. So the negative power goes through the solenoid. And then we got the 6 gauge wire coming out of the side right here. So yeah, that's pretty much all the modifications I've done to this to make it more reliable. So yeah, and the best part about having it connected to Anderson connector, and it's portable, other than installing a hard mounted air compressor, dual air compressor like ARB to the Jeep. With this setup, I could move it vehicle to vehicle and just plug in, use it on whichever vehicle without having to do any other stuff like the alligator clips, popping the hood, connecting straight direct to the battery. And in the Jeep, I have some more 6 gauge wire running up behind the passenger fender straight to the battery, and that is fused with a 90 amp Blue Sea Systems circuit breaker, because I believe this is a 90 amp compressor, so I doubt it's ever going to hit the 90 amps. So I figure I'll just keep the circuit breaker at 90 amps. So if anything does happen, this overheats or any issues between this and the connection to the battery in the Jeep, it has that circuit breaker for protection. So yeah. And then with this, I also use this is made by ARB too. This is the digital tire pressure gauge. So this is what I use to connect to the hose. This is also, yeah, it's digital. Haven't had any issues with it. If I ever need to release any air, has a air release button right here, and I just air up the tires with that, and I connect that to the hose. And then to air down, I use this right here. This is also ARB, a digital deflator. So that's the deflator right there. And what this does, it just, when I pull up to the trail, of course I deflate the tires. And what this does, you just screw this onto your valve stem, put that in there, undo the core of the valve stem, pull it back, then you just pull that back and it releases air. So yeah, that's that ARB. And then for the hose, just move this out of the way. This is the hose I use. And this is made by Bluebird. It works up to 300 psi, which this air compressor will never get up to 300 psi. It works between 40 degrees, minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit to 190 degrees Fahrenheit. I believe that's the temperature that comes from the compressor, because I know that gets pretty warm. So yeah, this end just plugs into the compressor, and then this end just, let me show you real quick. So here's that. This end just plugs right into there. Then you're good to go airing up. Set that aside. But yeah, this is made by Bluebird. It's a dino hide, heavy duty rubber air hose. So yeah, it's the hose that I use, and once the air compressor's on the ground in front of the Jeep plugged in, this hose easily reaches all 4 tires around the Jeep, so I have no issue airing those up or reaching the hose to air them up. So that's pretty much everything that I use for the setup. And that's the modifications done to the compressor. Yeah, so that's that side. Turn back around. And like I said, the hose just plugs right into the coupler right there. And you just pull that forward. It closes up the air release inside there. And then you're ready to, once it builds up pressure in the hose, it turns off due to the yeah, it turns off. Forgot what that's called for a minute. The pressure switch, yeah. Due to the pressure switch. Once it hits 70 to 100, once it reaches to 100, I believe it shuts off the compressor. So this will be full of air. And then when you're done, and so nothing, when you pop this off, it doesn't try to shoot out because of the pressure. You just pull that sleeve back right there, and it releases all the pressure after you have it turned off. And then you just pull the other one back, and it just pops right out. So yeah, that's that. That's the compressor I use to air back up. When I am done off a trail, I'll try to post links to most of this stuff in the description that I've got done to this. And most of the wiring connected to the solenoid is just extra wiring I had laying around. I believe I got it at Home Depot or something. But the 6-gauge wiring, I'll leave a link to that. The welding cable, and the pressure switch, and I believe I had that switch already, so I might not have a link to that. If I can find one, I'll put a link to that. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I've got done to this. So a lot of people ask me while I'm out if I bought it like this or if I modified it, which, as you can tell, I modified the compressor and it worked perfectly fine. Actually, I think it works better than when I got it. I would say it airs up maybe like an extra 20 to maybe 30 seconds sooner than before. But when you're out, that 20 seconds, 30 seconds a tire makes a difference. You have more time to go do what you like outdoors. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the compressor I use. That's a breakdown of most of the components that I modified it with. I'll try to post if I can find a picture, I'll try to post a picture of what it looked like before. Like I said, the cable that it came with was, I mean, it looked like a lamp cable that you have at your house. Like you plug in, and it looked really thin and non-reliable. So change that out, of course. So yeah, if you like this kind of content, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe. I'll be putting more out. Probably the next couple of videos I'll be doing are probably going to show me actually doing hands-on building this stuff. If you want to see that kind of content, leave a comment below. Let me know. Don't forget to go to my other social platforms. Just started a TikTok. Go look me up on there. Tactics Overland. Same with Instagram. Tactics Overland. But as of right now, yeah, that's pretty much what I use to air up when I'm off-road. So yeah, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Till next time.